Happy Monday, back in the kitchen in Los Angeles, talking sports, of course. We have a real treat. Today's one of those days we got on the call. We had a very long call. Why? Because we have a true legend, and we sort of took our time crafting the questions and the moments. Then there's like a lot of things you can talk to a Super Bowl champion, an absolute legend, one of the best to ever do, one of the most consistent to ever do it. Mike Singletary, gracing us with his presence, his mind, his experience. One of the greatest Chicago Bears of all time. How excited are we about this era? How much hope should we have? What's the biggest question Singletary has about this squad? Not just about the Bears, but he can talk about all sorts of things. Maybe what's going on. I wonder what Mike Singletary thinks about Shamar Stewart and what's going on there. What would your guess be? Any questions, guys? Let us know. Cowboys camp kicking off today at Oxnard. RJ Ochoa, one of our besties. He, of course, tackles everything over on Bloggin the Boys. He's going to set the scene for us. We know Micah not on the team flight. Does it matter? Maybe he was already in California. Who knows? He got, there in Oxnard. He allegedly, reportedly, and expectedly will join them, still waiting on his extension. How much will he practice? How much does it actually matter? I'll hit you with the this is something we've never done before. This is what happens when I fly across the country and don't have any say in what's going on. We're doing position groups across the league. Let's go. How about them Cowboys? Big Cowboy heavy show with RJ Ochoa, Bloggin the Boys. Let's talk about them. And how about the Chiefs picking themselves up off the mat? That sounds weird that they have to do that. They have to do that. And they are at their respective training camps today. By Wednesday, every single NFL camp will be partying and underway. We love this time of year, the hope, the optimism. It all sort of, you know what, Hamilton? It's really the final moments of that is what it is. It's not like all of a sudden, it's really like day one. And then it's kind of over because the optimism starts the day after the Super Bowl, before, the Jalen Hurts to Disneyland, before the Cooper DeJean being shirtless in every board on the Eastern Seaboard, every bar in the Eastern Seaboard, before all of that, like, that's when the optimism is at its peak. If you're watching that team celebrate and you're excited because you think that can be you, that can be your fan base, that can be your locker room, whatever. And then free agency happens and everyone's kind of excited and then everyone's got all this hope. The draft is the pinnacle, the peak of that as far as optimism is concerned in the school year of the NFL. And then you get to training camp and those gates open and you just imagine the Tom Brady-ness and the gates and the New England fans running and everyone's really excited. And then it gets serious and then cuts start to happen and then things start to take shape and then knock on fake granite. Then the injuries start piling. Then we kind of get to know the honeymoon phase is over. Let's get pragmatic about this. Let's get realistic about what our future might look like here, with tough decisions having to be made and some decisions being taken out of hands based on what's going on these teams across the league. But as of today, I'm going to say we are winding down. We are kissing goodbye to the honeymoon phase. We are noticing that the trash isn't getting taken out. We are noticing the laundry hanging out where it shouldn't be in the various corners of the ecosystem of the NFL. And I, of course, traveling back to beautiful Los Angeles, that we do have, I was in Chicago for like a million years. And we have Mike Singletary of Chicago Bear fame on the show. Very excited to talk to him and RJ Ochoa. But you decided position groups or what we're going to do.
Yeah. Heading into training camp, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. We are, I think, still coming into these first couple of days of training camps, everybody thinks they can make the playoffs. Everybody thinks they've got a shot. It is still peak time for optimism. I'm not ready to subscribe to this is the end of the honeymoon period stuff. We're still right in the heart of it.
Hamilton wrote up a little note, it's everything's positive is what it says here. And I just completely flipped that on its head.
5-minute monologue just...
RJ Ochoa, Mike Singletary on the show. Mike Singletary with a new book. We have to talk about visualizing. I will right now visualize for you what we think are the best, most intriguing position groups, the fascinating ones you're going to be wanting to watch as camp is here. We're going to go 5-1 here. At 5, it's these Chiefs receivers. And I talked to Patrick about it. Here's what he told me about the depth, about the talent, about how this squad, this room comps to the ones that he's had in his career.
It's going to be hard to make cuts because we have so many great receivers that we could be 8, 9 deep, the guys I can see making the roster. And that's what you want. You want competition. And we have that. Brett Veach, Coach Reed have done a great job of bringing guys in, and they've been competing, and we're excited to get to St. Joe, Missouri, and go out there, compete, and showcase who we are.
We love that you're excited to get to St. Joe, Missouri. The room is loaded, and not many people, I guess, are buying in, and there's so much hilarious, weird negativity, and the only I'm not really hearing how they could be done or not competitive or not come out of the AFC. Rashee Rice, he's going to serve a suspension. We know that's a knock. It might be one of those that sort of gives other guys and the depth in that room an opportunity, much coveted, much sacred, hard to get opportunities to step up, get some experience, build some chemistry with your quarterback. I don't know. I'm expecting huge things out of Xavier Worthy. He was just on the show too. A healthy Hollywood Brown. They just didn't have these guys. A really interesting one is Jalen Royals. Very much have my eye on him. He's a 4th rounder, Utah State, big yak guy. We know he was on the eyes of Jordan Love, but he, of course, goes to, he can make the plays in the middle of the field that we're thinking that Rashee was going to step up and make. So I think he's going to be a standout, and he's got a great shot to do that. I hope he does a lot with it. And then there's all these funny, interesting, fascinating, intriguing questions can Sky Moore, can he put it all together? I feel like we've been saying his name for a long time. He's had his moments. He's got the talent. My eyes are glued on St. Joe's and the receiver room, and of course the tight ends. Everyone thinks that Travis Kelce's done. It's hilarious. And if you do, by the way, look at Patrick passing yards. Let me look at it right now. 4,500 right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. That is Hamilton. I have a knife for some reason because I was cutting these stems off these flowers right here. Let me tell you about that line. 4,500, is it?
Please put the knife down. 4,500.
That's pathetic. And I think he's going to crush that. So I would hit the over, not the under. Over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Okay, let's move on. Number 4 on my list of most intriguing position groups heading into camp. I'm going to go Colts quarterbacks. This is a battle. Anthony Richardson, completely, people are out on him. He's so young, whatever. Daniel Jones, people have been out on him since day one. These are 2 guys that have nothing but the sky to hit because the bar is under the earth's crust, okay? DJ got a little bit of an advantage during OTAs because Anthony's got a shoulder, but AR is supposed to be fully loaded and ready to go in camp. So he's 23. I'll say it for the 19th billionth time here on the show. And this is just a good old-fashioned QB competition. And it's more interesting than a lot of the other ones going on because they're in a playoff spot. They've been in the mix. They're that's what their sights are set. They've had a lack of stability in a lot of places. They don't right now. If one of these guys can just take charge, be consistent, I want it to be a little bit of a competition for a day and a half, and then I want one to just take it. One or the other, okay? The otherworldly upside of Anthony Richardson, I love that. That would be ideal that he wins this outright. If he doesn't, I'll be a little bit disappointed. But, Daniel, we've seen Daniel take a team to the postseason if he's got a good team and a great run game supporting him. So I'm not writing him off either. Either way, FanDuel has odds. Week 1 start in Indy. Anthony's slight favorite at -120. They've been neck and neck. I don't want it to be neck and neck. Somebody blow the other one out of the water after a beginning of intrigue those first couple of days. Okay, number 3 on my list. 5 most intriguing position groups right now. I'm going to go Chargers wideouts. Mike Williams, happy retirement. Awesome. Has won me so many fantasy leagues and trips to the playoffs, and great guy and always fun and was always great to talk to. But now if you look at what happens, this gives the opportunity for guys outside of Ladd McConkey. We cannot give Ladd McConkey the ball anymore. In fact, we might want to take the ball off his shoulders a little bit. There's unknowns here, and I don't think it's a bad thing for Justin Herbert because there's so much talent in this room. Trey Harris, one of our faves here on the show, he's at the bowl. He's making big grabs. He's a second rounder, and he was a star at Ole Miss. I expect big things. And, you know, they've got to get that done. Fellow rookie 5th rounder, Keandre Lambert-Smith. This is the kid out of Auburn, okay? I'm seeing headlines here in LA. He's a bit of a deep threat. And I know that we want consistency out of Quentin. Can we finally get there? Can we, you know, he made a play. Look, right, do we have it? The play that, look at this, watch this. In those creepy sunglasses. Yeah, that's a guy who wants to go down and score. That's beautiful. Okay, he flashes his potential like that consistently. We're in this thing, baby. I know they're going to be a little more run heavy. I get that. It worked to get them to the playoffs. But for them to get where we want them to go, passing game has to open up more for a deep run here, and does put pressure on these young receivers. And I hope that they run up and get their thing done. By the way, Herbert's line for passing on FanDuel Sportsbook, 36.50.5. That's disrespectful. Over on that. Don't forget what they've got in that room. At number 2, my most intriguing position groups heading into camp, Broncos running backs. Okay. Been talking to this. We were all over Coach Sean Payton, who's been a little quiet, a little bit of a madman. I think he's feeling peak confident. I think he's ready to run people the F over in the AFC. They had a rookie quarterback. They had a running back room that ranked in the bottom 10 in yards per carry, and they made the upgrades. It's going to be interesting how the split shakes out, because given the man's history, J.K. Dobbins, RJ Harvey, Julio, they're all going to see time. It's going to be this and that and 1A, 1B, and it's going to be an absolute fantasy disaster. It's going to be an over-under disaster. I'd actually avoid it on FanDuel Sportsbook. I really would. But I want to see who ends up carrying the share out of camp. You'd have to think Dobbins has an edge with the experience. He's healthy. Harvey's explosive. He's versatile. He's shown something off in the passing game. I don't know. Their win total. This is the word. What was it last year, Matthew? 6.5.
It was 5.5.
That's so gross. That's so greasy.
Yeah.
That is actually insane. Okay, so it was 5.5 this year. I'm seeing it right now. It's 9.5, as you're seeing on your screen. They won 10 games last year. 10 games and made all these upgrades. They have the number 1 defense in the land. Okay, and this running back room is a big reason why I would absolutely go hit that over. These are good. These are great. I didn't see where any of these things were on FanDuel Sportsbook this morning. This is insane. Okay, at number 1, do you see Odell lacing up in Giants gear, running routes out there? Do you see that? What's Odell doing? I don't know what's going on there, but we're going to the Giants for our number 1 most intriguing position group. And it's, of course, the quarterback room. This is the one I'd like Netflix to make a movie of. From a personality standpoint alone, it's very interesting. In-season Hard Knocks on the NFC East. I hope it's literally 89% on that quarterback room and then 11% on everybody else. Football-wise, Russell showed some good things last year in Pittsburgh. Dable's system is going to obviously put him into position to shine. Can Jackson Dart push him? How much can Dart push him for that starting job? I don't believe that Dart has it in him to just sit and be like, I'm going to take notes on what's going on. I'm going to sit and learn. No. They're saying they're bringing him along slowly. No, he's going to try to go take that spot from Russell. Russell's the heavy fave on FanDuel right now. To start week 1, this is very fun that you can bet on this. Who's the starting quarterback of the Giants to start week 1? Minus 1,400 for Russell Wilson. And that's safe and easy, and I think that's true. I wouldn't count out the rookie. If you want to be spicy and have some fun, he'll, of course, start at some point, I think. So there it is, my most intriguing position groups heading into and in training camp. What are you most excited about? Who's most fascinating to you? What did I miss? Let me know. Tweet me, comment in the YouTube. And that's it. We're going to take a short break here because RJ Ochoa of Bloggin the Boys. He is next. Mike Singletary will follow him, an absolute legend for the Chicago Bears, of course. And we will get into all things Micah, Dak, that energy word still being flung around. Let's do it.
I don't know if you could hear it or my AirPods are killing the background noise, but I had a legit, not a Diamador Lenore situation, like a legit fire alarm going off that entire.
Oh, no, I did not hear it. No, Derek and Cal are on it. They muted your mic.
Amazing.
Do we have music under that and I just don't hear it?
That would have been a...
Dang, awesome.
That would have been a way to go out. Yeah.
Show me this Giant schedule. What week is Jackson Dart starting?
Do we have that from the other day ready?
No, I can just look it up.
Schedule.
What are we thinking here? There was one where it's got to be one of those where he has like. Oh,
there we go. There it is.
Where he's got, because there's that. Yeah, that Eagles Broncos early Eagles can't. It's got to be after that sandwich.
Yeah.
But then
Saints week 5 would be a logical spot, but then
it wouldn't, because then you're sending
week.
Absolutely not. It's not. That's the most illogical spot, but diabolical if they do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to roll them out there before, in my opinion, before week 9.
Week 9.
Because you want to see Russell against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I want to see that.
You do. I don't know if that's,
I do.
There's you don't want to do like too, which, So what are you thinking? Like week 10 at Chicago? That's
Yeah. Or home against San Francisco.
Yeah.
What? It's not a pretty schedule.
No,
as Joe Shane told disgusting.
Us. Yeah.
I mean, their GM was when the GM is talking about the schedule strength in April or in May, whenever that was. That's a little, and he's not wrong.
Yeah. No, there are no easy games on that schedule whatsoever. So maybe
some might say a couple of them are easy.
Maybe 2, maybe 1 or 2. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to say week 5 we see him.
Do you think he gets put into a game? What are pick one? Does he get put into a game in game, or does he? Do they? I think that's most likely. Actually, no, that's least likely. I don't know. I think Jackson thrives on that though. You almost want to be like, here's Mahomes, go in. I don't know. Some people like that. Okay.
Yeah, especially if it's a situation where the game is out of hand, get him in, get him some reps.
Welcome back to the show. Hamilton, shut it. Here we go. The Cowboys arriving at camp, reporting in Oxnard, California. We love to see it. My next guest here, not to shut it. He's here to open up and be a revelatory, vulnerable book, an open book on all things Cowboys, manager and editor-in-chief of Bloggin the Boys at SB Nation, RJ Ochoa, and we thank you for always sharing our stuff. You are crushing it, the best source for Cowboys info. How are you, and happy training camp?
I'm doing great, Kay. Thanks for having me. Happy training camp. Happy best time of year. Glad to see that you put the knife down. I was a little bit worried when I saw that and I was coming on next.
I have it when I need it. I have it when I get just enthusiastic enough, and I've had too much coffee, so we all know that's always the case. Okay, let's talk about Micah. Not on the team plane to Oxnard. Not a real story, right? He's expected to report to camp today. How much do you expect him to practice without a new deal?
Micah has done things differently, relative to other superstars in the NFL, certainly relative to other pass rushers. We saw TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson over the offseason be a little bit different in their approach to things. He's also done things differently than previous recent Cowboys who have been in this mix. CeeDee Lamb held out last year through the Oxnard portion of camp. Dak Prescott showed up, didn't really make any kind of peep about it all. So he is very unique. I think we know that by this point in time. I think that it would be illogical for Micah to practice fully. I think we can all understand that. We can all be adult enough to square that logically in our minds. But he has pledged to be there, new head coach, new defensive coordinator, et cetera, et cetera. And so he's doing the right things while also making sure to take the appropriate care of himself. And that makes sense.
How much has it, because, we're talking in the morning meeting about this, and I think I said, does training camp matter? I had Joe Theismann come on the show, or a couple of people come on and say, Terry doesn't really have to be there. Terry doesn't, or Zach Ertz even said, a Super Bowl champion said, Terry doesn't have to be there till Seb wins the first game. And then you think about Micah, the positioning, how important it is. But then it's just what happens with the Cowboys. It's normalized that these things happen. What, in your opinion, is the collateral damage to a team trying to, that has underperformed of these things, the CD year in, year out going into camp?
Yeah, I mean, not to be woe is me about the Cowboys, but obviously it's different. I think you understand that. Certainly, you've done a great job throughout your career covering that. But on top of that, the Cowboys exacerbate it, right? With making their most important, most cornerstone level players kind of crawl through what Andy Dufresne crawled through, right, to get to the big time contract extension. And in the process, whether it's fair or unfair, whether they can control or can't control it, they let the national media kind of, and you have people saying Micah is being a poor leader or whatever the case may be. It is insane. This isn't a standpoint that Cowboys fans have developed because reasons. It is, quite frankly, illogical. You cannot logic out the reason why the Cowboys are doing this. It only costs them more money. It only seemingly stirs the pot. It only serves to provide a disconnect between the player and the organization. On Sunday, when the Cowboys arrived on their team charter, as you mentioned, in Oxnard, Tyler Smith, their incredible interior offensive lineman who's eligible for an extension himself, he was asked if he monitors the situations that Dak and CD and Micah have gone through. And he said the right things. He said, yeah, I mean, I only control what I can control. But you can't help but notice that, like, dude, if they're treating these guys this way, what are they going to do to the players further down the roster?
I know, but how dangerous is that? Because Trey also went and said this is a Super Bowl team. It's I guess, like, what is the damage there? Like, how much further behind are they? I guess in acting this way.
I think it's player by player, not to ride the fence, but it was clear that there was a little bit of time that CD needed last year because he'd missed training camp before he fully found his footing. Now that doesn't happen. Obviously, not every player holds out, but it provides no good, right? Like, the only measurable things that we can answer here are negative in consequence, which again is why it's preposterous that the Cowboys continue to operate this way.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase said, this is a guy who obviously went on to have the Triple Crown, but his number, he's like and if you really look at it, like, the first couple of weeks were not that great. Even him, and he went on to crush it, but he said that it affected him. He did. He said that not that long ago. So it certainly does. And then you've got, like, the TJ Watt getting paid. How does that affect Mike? Are we thinking he gets closer to 45?
I mean, why not, right? And there's a school of thought, certainly, that Micah was always going to come in at whatever the number is going to be, regardless of where TJ Watt came in. But you introduce that variable now, right? If you and I were charged with representing Micah, that becomes another tool in our arsenal, another, knife on our table, so to speak. So why wait, And it is important to remember, and this applies to all, is Micah going to do this or not do that in training camp stuff, that Micah was first eligible for an extension last year. He showed up. It was never a doubt. He practiced fully, et cetera, et cetera. And if the Cowboys had taken care of this in March or April of 2024, they're not dealing with the TJ Watt hurdle. They're not even dealing with the Myles Garrett hurdle. They're well in underneath this new market rate, and everybody's just sitting here talking about how efficient of an operation they have. But instead, they like to do things this way.
They certainly do. They keep it interesting. And then if they do get it done, and he is in the 40 million range, Micah, CD, and Dak are about 50% of the current cap space. I don't know if I hate that. It's earned. And I like Micah a lot. I like how he handles himself. I do. I like that he's outspoken just enough. He's still, he's very respectful towards the organization, but still speaks his mind. I think that's very hard to do. And I appreciate him as a character in the National Football League and what he does in the field, of course. Let's move on here to the biggest question you have outside of Micah that needs to be answered at training camp.
Brian Schottenheimer's hiring was met with some consternation at first, and I think people cooled and chilled, and he's done a great job of winning the offseason between March and July, which is really nothing, obviously, but still significant and still substantial to give the man his due and his props. That being said, he is the offensive play caller. I know you had Deuce Vaughn on, and you've had a lot of people on talking about the scheme, the offensive scheme that Schottenheimer and new offensive coordinator Clayton Adams are going to oversee. That, to me, is, what is this going to look like? I know that as a football collective, we have just refused to give Mike McCarthy credit for anything that he's been a part of in his career, but the man did oversee Dak Prescott's finest season in 2023, CeeDee Lamb's finest season when he was the offensive play caller. And so you've got a lot of new variables kind of working all in unison and in parallel with one another. So how does he manage Schottenheimer, that is, being the head coach for the first time in general, obviously, and being the offensive play caller? How creative is he? These new players, these new tools, George Pickens' role. There's a lot of new ingredients in this the gazpacho that is the Cowboys offense. The
gazpacho that is the offense. We love that. You mentioned Deuce Vaughn. I thought it was very telling that he was very effusive, and I loved having him as a guest, effusive in his commentary of George Pickens. He kind of lit up saying he's huge for us, of course, as a playmaker, what his talent level is. And then he went on, not prompted, about what a great teammate he is. What have you heard about Pickens in the building so far?
Yeah, obviously, George was annoying in Pittsburgh. I mean, and I think that's important to note that he had no, running afoul with anything other than on the field stuff with the Steelers. But it has seemed from day one that he arrived with the Cowboys that everything has been kumbaya, that everything has been harmony, everything has been bliss and sitting around the campfire and singing songs. And I buy into that. I believe that to be genuine, not just because of the community and the vibe and whatever you want to call it that the Cowboys have built, but because that's who Dak Prescott is. He's always fostered that level of leadership, even dating back to his days as a rookie. And that's who CeeDee Lamb is and has been, even dating back to his days in Norman at Oklahoma. And I think CeeDee Lamb's probably, incredibly grateful to have a legitimate wingman operating opposite of him. No disrespect to anybody who's played with him, obviously, before. I think everybody's just excited. It is, the Cowboys get stereotyped for doing X, Y, or Z, but trading for the star disgruntled wide receiver from another team is kind of their move. And so it is kind of fun and exciting. And it was sort of the first juice-filled thing that the Cowboys have done in an offseason in quite some time. And so I think everybody's just been a moth to that flame.
Yeah, huge get. By the way, the over-under for Pickens receiving on FanDuel Sportsbook right now, 900.5. I would hit the over on that. I like it, of course, based on what's going on with the quarterback. That will determine what he does. He's coming off the hammy. He's getting, speaking of FanDuel Sportsbook, his MVP odds, RJ, are plus 4,000. Let me tell you what that means. He's sandwiched between Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think that when you are somebody who has come close before, like Dak has, finished second 2 years ago, it's difficult, right? There's a lot of narrative behind awards like this. That being said, all due respect to players like Caleb Williams and Jared Goff and Jordan Love and even Matthew Stafford and Brock Purdy. I mean, just kind of looking at this, it is absurd. I think that I saw this morning on a national show, there was a line, on a graphic about Jalen Hurts finishing second in MVP voting in 2022, which he should be hyped up for. He's obviously done a lot in his career since then. Dak Prescott, the last time we saw Dak operate on a team that, had a mild level of competence, that wasn't intentionally stirring the pot of toxicity the way the 2024 Dallas Cowboys were, he was highly efficient. He was highly successful. And I know that the Cowboysness of everything tends to force people to, float away from reality or objectivity in that sense. But I mean, that's totally worth taking a stab at. I know I told you I would certainly hit the over on 7.5, 8.5 wins for the team. That's a different thing. But this team is going to be playoff caliber. This team's going to be in the mix. And Dak Prescott has the best 1-2 pass catching combination he's had arguably throughout his entire career. And that certainly lends to the idea that he's going to have some individual success as well.
Maybe a little scheme tweak action, certainly going under the radar, and nice to see that Micah is there and that he is being a great teammate and knowing how important these little things do matter into getting where they want to go. We appreciate you so much. You're clearly not an Oxnard, and enjoy not getting a sunburn and covering everything the way that you always do. We appreciate it so much. You're always all over it. Thanks for sharing some of our stuff and getting our content out of there. You are crushing it. We appreciate you, RJ.
You rock, Kay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, RJ Ochoa, Bloggin the Boys. Guys, follow him if you are following the Cowboys, who are very much flying under the radar. Up next, a legend, Hall of Fame linebacker. So honored, so excited to chop it up with Mike Singletary, who's adding author of a new book to his resume.
That was great. The Pickens stuff is fascinating. It's good to hear that's going so smoothly so far.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that we have to monitor,
I know.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
Not the first receiver. Probably won't be the last.
Can you tell me the free agent? Who are the free agent wide receivers still available?
Keenan Allen is definitely still out there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think his text to Mike Williams. What is he thinking about, Yeah.
Amari Cooper's still out there too.
Do you think would it be insane for the Chargers to bring back Keenan? It doesn't sound like it's in the plans based off what Joe Ortiz, their GM, was telling us, right?
Yeah.
You think they have enough
maybe
depth?
the Mike Williams stuff
That's what I'm
changes that a
saying.
little bit. They do. Yeah, they do have. I mean, they have these young receivers they're excited about, like Keandre Lambert-Smith. Too. Like they have depth there, but it's all young guys. It wouldn't hurt to add another veteran into that room because there really is. It's a ton of youth in that receiver room right now.
And they start the season earlier. I know it's just 3 days, but like they start that Friday.
Yeah,
they got to get going earlier.
Yeah.
He had 70 catches last year.
Yeah, it's not like it's not
747
like
in that. He had 7 touchdowns last year in that wild Bears situation.
Yeah, he had some big games for them. He's definitely going to make a difference somewhere. He's going to be on the team this year for sure.
Yeah, I was trying to think, is it based on what the Rice situation was, like would he have gone to the Chiefs? We got to get Keenan on the show.
Yeah.
I would just wonder if he would. I'm sure I don't know, because he's such a Chargers legend, like over 10,000 yards with the Chargers, like so many, that rookie season. Like, yeah. I'd like to talk to Keenan.
Yeah.
We should try to get Keenan. Can we put him on our list?
Yeah,
all right.
We got our booking meeting today.
We're going to go to the Super Bowl right now. Let's go. I love this. Make sure you guys cut Hamilton's mic. Thank you. Cool. Let's do it.
And a fumble, and the Bears have it again. Richard Dent appeared to be the man who James.
That fumble recovery, Super Bowl 20. I cannot believe it was 40 years ago. The ball rolling around. Nobody could scoop it up until my next guest flew in there. So let's bring in 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time first-team All-Pro Hall of Fame linebacker, Super Bowl champ with the Bears, former Niners coach, Mike Singletary. Welcome back. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, I don't have highlights like that to show the world. I don't think that game, Mr. Singletary, goes off the rails quite the way it did if you don't make that play. What do you remember?
There were a lot of plays made in that game that, really was a difference maker. But it was just a great day, a great game plan, great execution by the guys.
You made 2 huge plays. I'm sure there were more, but the 2 iconic ones I can recite from my head. That was one of them. If I were to go into the locker room after that win and had I gone up to you and said, Mike, 40 years are going to pass and this team's not going to win another Super Bowl, would you believe that?
No. I mean, obviously at that time with the talent that we had, the coaching staff, the whole 9 yards, there's no way that I would have even entertained anything like that.
As we celebrate the 40th anniversary, like where does your head go first when you hear that?
Well, it just goes back to the making of that team. It goes back to the very first day that Coach Dicker came and we made the decision to keep Buddy Ryan as the defensive coordinator. And we just continued to work and improve and bring in players that really wanted to win, wanted to be a part of something special. And, we built that team.
It's also the 40-year anniversary of your first Defensive Player of the Year award. When you look at the stats, the accolades from back in 1985, which, as you were the best player of the greatest defense ever, which stat are you most proud of, Mike?
Well, probably the stat that's not on here, and that is playing in every game, being a part of every game, and just being available. That was a fun year, and it was exciting to be a part of. And the domination that we exhibited that year was pretty special.
You are the author of a new book. Congratulations. That's pretty special. Visualize Your Greatness is the title. Visualize Your Greatness, the playbook for the 7 C's of success. Now, you're being very, to use the C word, cryptic on what these C's are, but I'm imagining, and it's available, everybody, it's for pre-order now. You can get it on September 9th. I'm imagining consistency might be one of those C's as you're most proud that you were available. And I'm looking at these all pros. I was looking at your numbers, Mike. All pro. It's so hard to do one back to back, to do that as many times as you did. What is the key to that?
Well, I think, that C you came up with, consistency, it's the third one in that list of C's. And, that being consistent is everything, whether it's being consistent at working at our skills and continuing to get better at what we do, being the best at what we do. We have to work at our craft. And if we do that, then the things in life that seems like comes very natural is just something that we work really, really hard at. And when we do that, it's difficult to tell the difference between the two.
I'm trying to pick, guess the other C's. I don't know that I believe that celebrate is one of them. I don't know if that's a key to success for Mike Singletary. You're smiling, is it?
No, it's not. It really.
And I'm. That's a pretty easy guess for me. I mean, Mike, this was one of those dominant seasons of all time. Did you celebrate it enough? Did you celebrate yourself enough? And do you regret that? If not,
no. If I had it to do over again, I'd do it the same way. It's unfortunate that we didn't win another Super Bowl, but in my mind, I did the right thing by not coming back to the celebration or whatever, because I was already thinking toward the next year. We're going to do this again. And so the fact that we didn't ever do it again is disappointing. But at the same time, I'm very thankful for the way that I prepared each time as if we were going to.
I understood. I would hope you'd celebrate a little more, but we're here to celebrate you. And now 40 years later, Mike, I'm ready. I got 2 nephews watching from home right now. They're Packers fans. We lost them, the Chicago side of the family, because we've not been competitive. We have Caleb Williams. I don't know if you saw this, walking into, I think we have it, him walking into the facility. 40 years later, there's electronic key cards, keyless entry to get into the building. He arrived with the rookies. He came early. What message is that sending? How important is this?
It sends a great message. It sends a message that, hey, I'm willing to do everything I have to do in order to get the wins that we need, to get into the playoffs, to get to the Super Bowl. Those are the little things that you do that you don't have to say anything. It's just the body language that says it all.
In terms of your book, Visualize Your Greatness, the playbook for the 7 C's of success, which C, or maybe not even a C, but which trait, which thing do you think is most important to Caleb Williams this season to have success?
You know what? I really think it's the first C, and that is basically having the courage to do the things that I need to do every day, even on the days that I feel like I've done enough. Am I getting out to practice early? Am I leaving late? Am I watching the film that I need to watch? Am I spending the time with the coaches? Am I spending time with those players, even those young players that are going in after practice? Am I getting them out there before practice start? Hey, guys, let's get out there and work on this route. Let's work on that. Let's work on this. All those little things that he has to do, being able to do them every day, whether you win or lose, but win that day. That's the most important thing. And I think having the courage to do that, when you look in that mirror every night before you go to bed and ask that question, did I do everything today in order to win the day? If I can answer that question and say yes, then you know what? everything else is going to take care of itself.
If we visualize Caleb's 2025, of course, added pieces, new leadership, great play caller, improvements to the O-line, hopefully, some decision-making, some experience. What do you think, if we visualize next year today, what will we be talking about with Caleb Williams as far as how he's improved?
You know, I will say this, from looking at him from a distance, he's a young man that really wants to be in the mix. He wants to hear his name. He wants you to hear the announcers call his name. He wants to hear the coaches talking about all of the positive things that he's doing to turn that team around, to make that team a contender. He wants to hear his name mentioned amongst some of the great quarterbacks in the league today. In order to do that, you know, I believe it's within his grasp if he has the work ethic, and if that's the case, then there are a lot of great things ahead.
Do you think he has the work ethic from things that you've seen, heard?
Don't know yet. You know, it depends. Depends on where he is, if he's honest with where he's at, and if he realizes, hey, you know what? This is what I have to do. This is my workload. This is what I have to do in order to get our offense to this point, in order to get our team to this point. And if he can do that, you know, it takes being honest with yourself about where you are and your knowledge of the game, because the better he becomes, the better he's going to have to be. So it's on, and I'm excited about watching the development.
I am too, and I think, you know, he was so hyped last year. Generational talent, taken all of this, the new, you know, the Eberflus, Shane Waldron, he's got weapons, all of that. I think he's in a better spot this year. That same sort of hype is being given to Ben Johnson. Is that fair? Should we be getting as excited as we are as Bears fans about Ben?
You know, I think it doesn't matter how much hype they get. If they're professionals, it doesn't matter because they're not going to pay attention to it. Ben Johnson understands why he was brought in there. And, you know, Caleb Williams understands why he's there. And everything else is all about the work ethic. It's all about all of that other stuff. That's for the fans. That's for people to talk about. That's for guys like myself to talk about. I'm not playing. But for those guys that are on that field and for the coaching staff, it's all eyes on this team. Everything that we do is about what we have to do this year. Everything else we have to box out and continue to move forward.
The number 68 has been sort of following him, ringing in his head probably. The league high 68 sacks last season. Doesn't happen very often. His rival, Jordan Love, I think had like 14 sacks. The average in a league is about 40. How do we get to about 40? Obviously, you know, offensive line improvements. How does Ben Johnson help make sure that doesn't repeat?
You know, it's I'm sure he's looked at a ton of tape this offseason. I'm sure he's looked at the mentality of the offensive line, the mentality of the quarterback, and, you know, the running backs, looking at the things that he has to put around the quarterback in order for him to be effective. If I want to see him get better, if I want to see him be the kind of quarterback that we all believe that he can be, then we've got to put pieces in place around him to allow him to be able to take those strides. And I think so far so good. They've been able to do that. Now, you know, the thing that they have to do now is just continue to make sure that they do the little things in order to achieve what they're trying to achieve this year.
Mike, is this a playoff team?
Could be. I mean, I think from what I saw last year, it definitely could be.
Could be a playoff team in this NFC North, one of the most competitive divisions in the league, as we're seeing. Let's talk about some other teams that you've spent some time with. The Niners, of course, the Rams. I was looking at them this morning. They're neck and neck, Mike. I need to know who you think wins the division. Who wins the NFC West?
You know what? When I look at the NFC West, my gut my gut tells me the 49ers. But I must say that if I look at the roster, the Rams are going to be right there.
What do you like about the Rams roster? Devontae Adams added. Of course, they still have the
I like their defensive line.
You do? Yeah.
I like their defensive line. I think they have a defensive line that's very disruptive. They come off the ball, they get after the quarterback. And when you're doing that, you cause the defense to really rise to another level, especially when you look at the quarterbacks in the division, getting after those quarterbacks and getting in their faces, getting their hands up. I think, the Rams, like I said,
yeah,
they got a very disruptive defensive line.
So what do the Niners have to combat that? They lost some pieces that went to the Broncos. Like, who's the better quarterback? You got to give it to Stafford, who's won the Super Bowl, who's done. What is the argument for the Niners over the Rams, in your opinion?
You know what? It is when I look at the 49ers, it is a team that's been there. It's a team that understands the functionality, what it takes to be a great team. They've been there year in, year out. They've got a quarterback that believes that he can do it. They've got a coach that believes that he can do it. So I just think the 49ers have a lot of the pieces that have been a part of championship games, Super Bowls, those kinds of things. And when you have that, it makes a difference. It really makes a difference.
There's some bulletin board material for Sean McVay and the boys out there in LA, which I love to see. I don't know who will win. I think I'm rooting for the Rams a little bit. I'd like to see Devontae Adams get a ring. I think he's a special player, so talented. That's something that I'd like to see. I'll ask you this. When I think of you, obviously Bears and Niners, I do think of when I started Good Morning Football in that first year and you were with the Rams, the boxes and the jumping up for the boxes and you getting the best out of your players by example. I remember we showed it, and I don't know why I remember it so well. That was, I believe, Jared Goff's rookie year, correct?
It was.
Okay. When you're watching what happened last year, what did you see in Jared Goff his rookie year? Were you surprised? Did you know it was coming? Did you know he had it in him? What were your impressions last year? Oh no. Did we lose him?
From the very first
Maybe
time
we'll take a short break here. There he is. Are you with us still? Okay, perfect. Did you hear the question?
Yes, I did.
Please.
When I saw Jared Goff as a rookie, the one thing that he's always had is work ethic. He has a lunch. I'm going to take my lunch pail with me every day. I'm working. He's a hard worker. He doesn't say a whole lot. To me, he's a coach's dream as a quarterback.
Wow.
He just gets after it. He just goes to work. So when you have somebody like that, it really makes a difference.
Sounds like commitment might be one of the C's in the book as I sort of keep my guessing game going. It's interesting. Caleb Williams, you don't know about, but Jared Goff has work ethic, but you were, of course, around him day in, day out. I have to show you something, Mike. I don't know that you've seen this. You had some of the most intimidating eyes in the business. Okay, that was sort of your accessory. You didn't need this. We have Justin Herbert. I don't know if we have a good enough close-up. Probably can't see that. These are contact sunglasses, my friend, that he's wearing. His eyes look red. It's sort of intimidating. What do you think of these? You didn't need these.
You know what? In all honesty, I think if it works for him, fantastic. But it's kind of hard for me to see it. It wouldn't really make a lot of difference to me. So,
I got the laugh I wanted from you, Mike, which I love. What was the most in your time playing? Who had the most intimidating accessory? John Randall's eye black. You have the neck roll, a dark visor. What was the most intimidating?
You know, I guess when I think about it, maybe the guy at when you say intimidating, I would just
I
say
know.
different, different because you're not intimidated by it.
I
But
know.
the guy that played running back at the Washington Redskins, he had the mohawk, the
Anyone?
truck,
Matthew
the
Hamilton? Riggins?
Riggins.
He was
Riggins,
intimidated.
no,
He was different.
yeah, you know, the thing about Riggins, he was really different. You know, when you play most running backs, they care. They care about who's on the other side. They're kind of looking over there to see where you are. This guy could care less. He looked like a guy that was just a normal, everyday guy going to work with a lunch pail, and
Mm,
he's going to hit you in the mouth every time. I don't care how hard you hit him. You know, when you hit him, it was like hitting a Mack truck. He was a guy that was really, really different, and he had a really good vibe about him. But
that's great. High
yeah,
praise from
very,
you. High praise. Mike, you've
yeah,
coached
very
some of the
cool.
best in the league. Now we're getting coached by you, being able to read your new book, which we're so excited about. But you know, you helped Ray Lewis get to his best. You helped Patrick Willis in coaching him. Who would you want to coach today?
Wow. Who would I want to coach today?
Pick one.
Wow. There, there are so many young players out there that are talented, but it's hard from a distance to really say who would I want to coach today because the players today, it kind of comes down to, once again, anybody that I've ever coached will tell you it's the guy that really wants to work. Because I always tell guys, I don't care about the ability. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care what you did in college. I don't care what you did last year. It's all about what you're going to bring today. And I want all of it. We are going to work as hard as we possibly can because work ethic is the thing that takes you where you need to go. And for the guys that have that work ethic, we're going to get there together.
I love that. Your new book, Visualize Your Greatness, the playbook for the 7 C's of success: commitment, consistency. We don't know what else. And I like that you're not telling anybody. I'm very excited to read this. And it comes out on September 9th. And we will celebrate that with a C.
All right. That sounds good.
Thank you so much, Mike Singletary, for your time. I couldn't get you to say the Bears are a playoff team. They might be. I'm a little nervous now. I'm a little like you're bringing my.
No, you know what? You shouldn't be because whether I say it or not, it doesn't matter. It's what they say.
No, it does matter. It does matter.
No,
It
it
matters
doesn't.
so much. You're Mike Singletary. Okay, we're going to take a short break. The book is available right now for pre-order, and you can get it in stores everywhere. It's September 9th. How much time do we have on the other side of this? Okay, great. Perfection. Fantastic.
Perfect.
I'll do fine, I'll do this ridiculous.
So we know how to impress Mike Singletary. Just work your butt off.
I mean, my immigrant
That's it.
parents are watching with my nephews this morning. So my dad's probably like, check. Got that.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's such an
I feel
interesting
like a couple of
action.
those C's are going to be scaring you. Oh,
No, I think it's
we already
like
got one.
the celebrate is so funny because it's so earnestly true that if he had he feels that if he had celebrated, it would have deterred his next year's, but his next
Yeah.
move, it's not a bad take.
Yeah, that's how you get those 7 straight first team All Pros and all that.
Yeah, but there are people who celebrate and do the same thing. So then it's
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Some people can, some people can't. Some people can,
Yeah.
and that's like it's very crazy the people who can like celebrate and work hard, play hard. I guess.
Yeah.
But sometimes
No,
like
that-
mentality isn't wired that way. And it's not a one size fits all thing. Like good for you that
Totally.
you can celebrate stuff, but some people aren't wired that way. I'm not wired
Yeah.
that way. I never celebrate anything ever.
Yeah.
But it's not because I don't want to. I just quickly acknowledge, and then my head goes somewhere else because I don't know. I don't know what it would. I don't know what it would even be like. I don't want to. I don't.
Yeah.
I think it would throw me off. I think I understand what he's saying. It would throw me off my game, but I'm very
Yeah.
jealous of people who do take to celebrate something. I guess it's interesting that he's thought
No,
about that.
totally. Yeah. 'Cause there is that like staying locked in because you take that second to celebrate. It's, you know, it takes you out of that mindset even for an instant. And for him, it clearly mattered. Like he wanted to
Yeah.
stay at that level of focus at all times.
I'm doing another pickleball thing tomorrow.
Oh God.
At this point, do I learn how to play?
No.
I thought so. Pickleball's not gone. Pickleball's here. Pickleball is taking over. It's still. It was not a fad. It was
Yeah.
not a. All right, let's do it. Nothing I like more than. Sure. But you don't think I can talk about Giancarlo Stanton?
Come on.
Let's do it. Get this, baby! We are in the middle of FanDuel's 5 days of dingers. We love alliteration. We love home runs. This means, people, that you can pick any player to hit a homer in today's games, and you can get a 50% profit boost token if your bet hits. If 50%, let's take a look at the odds here. Shohei is going to be on. Yeah, be sure, of course he is. Aaron Judge, sure. Byron, Giancarlo, Juan Soto, we love it. Otani's got the Twins. He's got the shortest odds. I'm going to say, man, I don't know. Who's got the Brewers? Who's playing the Brewers?
The big dumper is playing the Brewers. Cal
Nope,
Raleigh.
I don't like that. Nope, I don't like that at
Won
all.
10 in a row? No.
Brewers are crushing it right now. They just swept the Dodgers?
Oh.
Tied for the best thing in football or football, baseball? Goodbye. I was doing so well. Bye.